Welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me for another beer review. In this video we are going back over to the Perfect Draft Pro and we are going to revisit a beer that I reviewed got to be 2.5 years ago, and it's a Leffe beer and it's their Cascade IPA. Yeah, Leffe Cascade IPA. I forgot. I didn't know if there was any more to it, to be honest, but it's just their Leffe Cascade, which is Belgian IPA using Cascade hops. I'm doing the re-review because at the time when I first reviewed it, it was on the Perfect Draft, the standard one, at 3 degrees. And really it's a beer that needs to be, it doesn't really matter, but it's meant to be a little bit warmer. So being as I've got the Perfect Draft Pro, I thought I'd re-review it. So it's set at 5 degrees. The beer is in the machine over there. What I'm going to do is just pause the video. I'm going to do the pour and then just come back. So you won't see the pour, but I'll come back with the beer. So let's get cracking, get this pour done. So we're back. What I didn't tell you is how much the beer is in the keg. It's £41.90 for this one. It's coming in at 7.5%, so it's a big old hitter. I'm not going to go for all the discounts because all these discounts are so bloody complicated now. Things are changing so much. But ultimately you will still get your £5 keg deposit once you return the keg. So it's bringing it in at the most at £36.90. So for 10 pints of a 7.5% beer, not that you're really going to be drinking pints, which will sound ironic any second now. It's more of a 330ml sort of glass kind of drink. So you're getting, how many of them are you getting out? I can't even think how many you're getting in there. 18 glasses for £36.90. So it's coming in at about £2 a glass for that sort of thing. Before any discounts. If you get any discounts after that, that's great. Right, so we got the beer here. Now I don't have a 330ml Leffe glass. I've only got pint glasses. So you'll see what I mean when I said about, you know, you're not really going to be drinking this in a pint glass. But unfortunately, Bazza is. So my last review, I will say I did like the beer. It is a decent beer from what I can recall when I reviewed it and that. But it wasn't one of my favourites. It was a nice enough beer, but it wasn't one of my favourites. Now, whether my views are going to change on this, I've had 2 small glasses out of the machine. That was a few days ago. I didn't really take any notice. I just drunk it. So this is where I'm going to be looking at the beer again. Set at 5 degrees. So there we go, beer in a glass. It's like a sort of golden colour, isn't it? Oh, golden colour. Plenty of bubbles going up the middle of the glass, as you do with the Leffe glass, because it's nucleated. The head has gone in on itself, but it was a lovely sort of creamy head. Looks decent, a bit of chill haze going around there. It's not, you know, there is a bit of haze in the beer as well. It's not clear, obviously, as you can see. So let's dive in on the nose and see what we get. Try and swirl it. It's probably a good job the head went down. Didn't do a very good job, did I? Sniff. Yeah, you get that little bit of sort of yeastiness in there. A little bit sweet on the nose. Fruity. It does smell nice on the nose, I've got to admit. I don't recall picking an awful lot up on it the first time. A little bit of pear maybe, pear, apple, something like that. That sort of light fruit. There's maybe a little bit of a citrus note in there as well. A little bit of booziness if you sniff really hard, but otherwise it's very much like a typical sort of Belgian ale. The IPAs are totally different to our sort of IPAs. This has got that sort of like fruity note to it. But let's stop waffling on. Let's dive in on Leffe Cascade, 7.5% in a pint glass. Cheers, everyone. Be snoozing after this, I tell you. Okay. 7.5%. The head's gone in on itself. When the head goes in on itself, the beer isn't as creamy as it could feel. But it has got some weight to it. There's a little bit of stickiness in the mouth, I would say, which is quite typical of a lot of sort of Leffe beers. It has that sort of sticky residue. Very light carbonation in the mouth. You literally just get a little whiz across the palate, if you like. Although there's plenty of bubbles going up. I mean, it's not wild. It's pretty smooth. I would like a bit more bubbles in there, to be honest. It's a little bit, when the head's gone in on itself and there's not that carbonation, it does feel a little bit bland. Not bland, but almost feels a little bit lifeless, and I think that's the same with most beers. If they're not massively carbonated and that head goes in, it doesn't give you the best sort of interpretation of the beer. Let's give you some taste notes. Malty on the start. I get that maltiness. I do get a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of yeastiness. Behind that, a little bit of lemon, I'm going to say. That's maybe the sort of citrus note I was picking up on the nose. Not really getting anything, any pear in there with that. Maybe a little bit floral, citrus, malty on the start, with a bit of a bitterness on the back end. 7.5%. You don't really get it, but you just know it's that little bit heavier. You sort of get that 7.5% in the weight of the beer as you drink it. Not so much in sort of alcohol, but you do know that it's there. It's that bit stronger. What do I think of this one on the Perfect Draft Pro at 5? I think I do pick a little bit more up in there, but I don't think my views have overly changed on the beer. It's a decent beer, but again, it hasn't, for me, it hasn't really got any better being in the PD Pro at 5 as having it at 3. Yeah, you notice a little bit more taste to it, but I think ultimately the beer is still the same beer, and it still gives me that same feel. It's a nice enough beer, but it's not one that I would rush to, if I'm honest. Typical sort of Belgian IPA, but not full enough for me. Not a full enough sort of body, maybe not enough sort of flavour in the beer personally. Maybe that would change if I set the PD Pro a little bit higher, maybe. That could change, but I think in general my views are pretty much the same on this. A little bit more flavour, but still the beer is the same sort of thing for me. So Leffe Cascade IPA for the PD Pro. Decent drink, which I said that in my first review, and not really, I'm not going to say it's a massive improvement in the PD Pro, if I'm totally honest. So they're my thoughts on this one, revisited. If you've had it before, let me know what you think. Feel free to comment. Let me know if you've had it in the normal PD Pro, in the normal PD and the PD Pro, and let me know if you think there's much difference. That's it for this video. I'm going to end it there now. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon on another one. Cheers.